What's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo, and I have a need for speed, baby. I'm ready to go. We're going to have to be fast tonight because we have 16 games to get through. We are going to have to recap all of them. There was a ton of good football. Sunday night, fucking crazy game. Monday night, crazy comeback game that I know that you were just fucking rock hard about. But my man, the first week of football is in the books. We had a good weekend of bets. Your team played well. My team played really well. Should have won multiple times. Didn't, but that's the life of a Browns fan. My guy, Evo, how you doing, brother? Welcome in. Did you get much sleep after last night's fucking wild game?
No, brother. Look, I was tweeting about it. Anxiety for a game. Typically don't have that. Like the playoff game and stuff like that last year, or playoff games in general, like kind of get a little bit of anxiety and restlessness. But I mean, it's been months and months and months of waiting for football to come back. You know, over a year waiting to see my guy JJ McCarthy hit the field. So a lot of anxiety because I've had a lot of positive things to say about him and my thoughts on him. So it was hell of a lead up, hell of a build up to the game.
Yeah.
And then a very interesting game for sure that we will get into that, you know, kind of left me on cloud nine for a while last night. I really enjoyed going through and finding receipts for stuff throughout the game. That was pretty damn cool. I haven't gotten to do that before because I have not been as much of an X user as I have been recently. But yeah, just look, fantastic week of football, fantastic week one. And I'm sitting here fiending. I'm fiending for more. I'm like, why isn't there? Fuck it. I've talked shit about double Monday games and shit like that. And Thursday games sometimes are dog shit. Dude, I don't care. Where are our Tuesday and Wednesday games right now, man? Like, fuck. I'm missing it. I'm jonesing for football. But look, before we get too far into this, because yeah, we are going to rock it through all 16 games. Of course, we have to do our obligation to the sponsors. That's sponsorships until we get a cease and desist or otherwise. So today, Raw Dog Sports is brought to you by none other than Ryan Clark. We might not have been professional athletes here on Raw Dog Sports. Hell, we're not very professional at all. But that doesn't mean that Ryan Clark doesn't want to support us. He's not down with professionalism either, whether it's talking about another professional's wife, race baiting, bragging other panel hosts for not having played a sport that they talk about. Ryan loves to shake things up and has really figured out how to be a good talking head. You say idiotic stuff to piss off people in a fan base to make sure that your name sticks in people's mouths all week. Hell, it worked for others like Skip Bayless, Colin Cowherd, Diana Rossini, Stephen A. Smith. Why not give it a shot? And hey, at least he doesn't have any sort of sexual allegations like Shannon Sharp, Joy Taylor, or Emmanuel Acho yet. Ryan Clark, bringing you hits on the field and now shitting on your TV screen. Ryan Clark is not an official sponsor of Raw Dog Sports. However, he could be, or he could send us a cease and desist, I guess.
That would be an awesome cease and desist to get. So the Ryan Clark has obviously been in the media for a really long time. He has his own podcast now as well. The shot that he took at the host of the show, because you know what? I don't know. He's not going to say that to Mike Greenberg, is he? Probably he's not going to go at Greeny like that and be like, you don't know shit because you didn't play.
There's a laundry list of names that he's not going to say that to.
Yeah. So why take the shot? And listen, you don't have to be an NFL player to understand the game of football. Look at, I don't know, all the fucking coaches in the NFL. Like most of those motherfuckers did not make it there.
Yeah.
So, like, that is nonsense to even say that, oh, you didn't play at that level. You have no idea what you're talking about when you're talking about the game. Now, if you want to talk about the lifestyle and all of the shit that goes with it, sure. Can't speak to that. You didn't live the fucking life. But you're talking about a game, you can talk about it.
For sure. Look, this is a common type of thing. Obviously we're military veterans. We hear this kind of trope all the time. Oh, you shouldn't be talking about war and defense and stuff like that of the country if you never served. That only extends to a certain extent. Obviously, policies, politicians, lawmakers, things like that, they have a place in determining what the country does in its wartime efforts, even if they didn't serve. Now, having served, yeah, it can definitely give you a different perspective and kind of help you in those situations. Just like being a former professional athlete can give you a good idea of what's going on a football field or what's going on in a locker room, things like that. You might be tied in better, but you just have a better intimate knowledge of what's going on. But it doesn't make you the biggest expert that there possibly is. I mean, look at Booger McFarland. That boy can barely fucking say a sentence sometimes, but he probably has a decent amount of knowledge on this stuff, but it doesn't make him like the biggest expert on quarterbacking or something like that. But it probably puts him in a better position than other people. If you are a professional at your craft, you don't have to have played the sport. You don't have to have done what you're talking about. There's a difference between talking about something that you know nothing about,
yeah,
and what's going on here. It was just kind of it felt just like Ryan Clark's not winning his argument. He's not making good enough points, and now you have to try to go for some sort of low blow, and it's very cheap. It's very cheap, and it's kind of been a little bit more of his MO lately to kind of the cheap shots. I thought Ryan Clark in the past was pretty decent. Don't always.
I mean, he knows ball for sure.
And it seems like, and maybe this is just a thing that's been going on lately with some of these talking heads, is their managers or agents are saying, hey, it's not about you saying what's correct. It's about you riling people up or getting aggressive, because that's going to keep your name out there. It's going to make you pop on people's feeds. The whole, there's no such thing as bad press. They're trying to run with that as much as possible.
Yeah. I mean, sure, you can run that for as long as you want, but I mean, there's always bad press. I can assure you that there is.
Yeah. Ask Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, I mean, Shannon just keeps getting in trouble. I don't know. So, all right, man. Are we ready to start diving into football? We already did a recap of the Thursday game, the Friday game. We ready to start hopping into the actual games, and we'll give the people a look at kind of how we did in these games. Because listen, first week's always tough, and I don't want to toot our horn too much, but we had a pretty good opening week. Last year's opening week was fucking tough. This one, banger compared to last year's.
Yeah, if you want, I can pop that up for us right now so we can start to show off our accolades a little bit.
Hell yeah.
We talk about the fucking the gambling stuff on this show, but I mean, check out our records here. 11-5 for Mike, 12-4 for me. We're hitting at a hell of a rate. When you see a lot of green on the board on our picks, that's usually a good thing. We're not saying to bet every single game. Pick and choose the ones that you like. Pick and choose where you think, hey, they made a good argument. But more often than not, especially in week one, we were fucking on the head on this one.
Yeah, man. Some of these games obviously didn't go the way we thought they would go. But the feel that I feel like we had for these teams, we were really deep into the offseason this year. Producer Amber was deep into the offseason. Like, we took that extra step, I felt like. And I think that is what paid off early in the season here in week one, kind of understanding. I know it paid off for me in terms of fantasy football as well. I targeted some very specific people just because, and I took them rounds ahead of where they should have gone because I was looking for target shares and things like that. So listen, man, I feel good about week one so far, but do we want to get into one of these games? You want to break one of these games down?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, so before we completely jump in, maybe it is just the fact that we haven't had football in such a long time, but this week one felt way better than most. As I was sitting there thinking about it, it was like, man, Thursday night game was pretty fucking good to watch. The Friday game, pretty fucking good to watch. We had decent contests and decent storylines throughout the middle of the week. And then Sunday night football, fucking banger. Come from behind type of game on Monday night. Like, I look, again, recency bias possibly, but this felt like one hell of a fucking first week.
Man, I got the goosebumps, season. Right? I got goosebumps, man, thinking about all the football.
It was fucking great. But look, I'm going to be popping off of ESPN here, just running down the list of games. I know that these aren't all necessarily in the exact order how we bet them. We're going to get over every single game this week. First one on here, Bucs Falcons. Bucs get the win here, 23-20, going into Atlanta and beating former rookie, his first year as a full-time starter, Michael Big Dick Penix. Yeah. He's going to be coming into my house this weekend. Thoughts on this game? Big show out for Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah, man. So I went through, and this is also not a sponsorship, almost, and probably can't be. The NFL Plus, love it, because I was out at the game. I did some photography in the morning for a wedding that took place in the Muni lot. We'll talk about that a little bit for the Browns game. And then surprise Graydon with a trip out to the game. And I didn't get to watch as much football all day because, obviously you got to travel and everything. So NFL Plus saved my life over the last couple of days, man. I have been crushing games. This game on the condensed version, you're like, damn, Michael Penix fucking balled out in the first half. He looked pretty good. And then the ball started to sail on him a bit. Yeah. Pressure started to affect him. Once he got moved off his spot, the balls were just, and that led to a pick. Baker did what Baker does. I mean, kind of showed some moxie, made some plays, got in people's faces, and he finally didn't make a boneheaded mistake, gets his team in the end zone, leads a fourth quarter comeback, led his team in rushing. I mean, Baker played an average game when you look at his numbers, 17 of 32, 167. But he threw 3 touchdowns and showed up when it mattered most. Listen, the Falcons played a pretty good game. The defense, a little bit better than I expected. But this was a game that they kind of needed to win, especially with how bad they made Baker look early. Losing this one's tough. And I have already told Falcons fans they're going to hate me this year because I do not have them as being a very good team. They will probably be a decent team with a bad record.
Yeah, look, I don't think the Falcons are bad, but I don't think that they're as good as probably their fan base is making them out to be. Look, I get the energy. Having a young quarterback, you got a stellar running back, you got some good offensive pieces. The defense is still a little bit scary to me. This is going to be a continuing trend here as we talk through this week, and one that we have parroted our past 2 shows. Beginning of the NFL season, offenses aren't usually full bore. They're not on top of everything. Look, we talked about these games. They hit the over. Both Falcon Buccaneers games last year hit the over, and it's because those teams were starting to hit their stride, and all those offensive weapons and firepower were able to be put to their full use. But if you look through this slate, we very rarely have any of these games that hit the over. Of course, the game that I picked to fucking hit the under did not, but
fucking blew the under, dude.
Yeah, but this is part of the early weeks of the NFL is that offenses aren't going to look as great. So a 23-20 Falcons Bucks game does seem like it's a little bit low scoring until you step back and say, this is week 1. The defenses have an advantage here. But as the game progresses along in week 1 is when you start to see those offenses start to come together, or you start to see some of the warts. And I think that's kind of what happened with the Falcons is you have your first 15 to 20 plays scripted. Things are going good. Vibes are good. But then when you have to start to move away from that script a little bit as a natural progression in an NFL game, things get a lot more difficult. And that's when we started to see things like all sailing on Michael Penix. And that's the difference between having a long-term veteran quarterback with an established group around him in Baker, who's been there with this team for a while now and is really hitting the groove, you're able to see them continue to persevere throughout the game and come out with this win at the end. Now, it did get very close. It was one Younghoe Koo, whatever fucking kick away. Yeah. I know. I always want to call him Young Ho because it's way more fun. But Younghoe Koo, it means that Falcons team brought in former Vikings great kicker John Parker Romo to the practice squad this week. He's on thin ice. So
fucking kickers.
Yeah, it was a interesting week for a lot of kickers. One of them is already out of a job.
We should cut them all.
Hey,
kicking.
Big Leg Bill, Will the Thrill Reichard. That's my boy.
I'm sure. One last thing on this Falcons game, man, before we move on to the next one. Bijan Robinson is fucking outrageous. All the things that people hoped Reggie Bush would be when he got to the NFL, that's how fucking Bijan Robinson moves. He never has to slow. His hips are insane. He's got hips like Shakira. They don't fucking lie. The dude never slows down when he's cutting.
Yeah, look, it wasn't a stellar rushing day for him. Obviously, that 50-yard reception helps him out a lot as far as being a receiver, getting 100 yards receiving. 24 yards rushing, that is a little bit concerning, even though there was a share, a pretty healthy share between Algier.
But Algier didn't run the ball well either. They didn't run the ball collectively well as a team.
Right. And so, you want to see Bijan do better with that in future weeks. But again, offenses will start to get rolling. Game plans will start to get going. It'll come.
For sure. All right, man. Let's hit the next one.
All righty. Next up, we have the Bengals and the Browns. Bengals get the W here, barely 17-16, a nice low-scoring game out there in Cleveland. And I'm going to let you kind of take this one away. Schmidt schmitted his pants.
Schmidt is shit.
Pretty bad.
That guy fucking sucks. He should have been cut right after the goddamn game. Okay, the Browns should have won this game multiple times. So I'm not gonna freak out about Schmidt. Everybody knows why we lost this game. The Browns should have won this game. The Bengals did not beat us. We beat ourselves because we cannot find anybody to kick in this fucking shit ass stadium. God damn it, I cannot wait for the Dome for that reason alone. But the Browns defense is fucking for real, and I kind of felt like it would be. I called that. I drafted them in fantasy. I even went out. I got my guy Carson Schlesinger, who
took you a little bit. I was going to light you up if you didn't.
Oh,
it took you a little bit.
Sure, but I took him, and he did great, man. One of the top performing rookies in all of football. So that defense is going to be really special, really capable, and we always match up good against the Bengals. That's a game that we needed to win. Joe Flacco goes for over 225 by like 290. So great. The couple interceptions, one is kind of on Joe a little bit. That ball was behind. That sucks. But the ball that gets hit right up in the air, what the fuck are we doing, Jerry Jeudy? That one is not on Joe. That one, like, what could he possibly have done? Jerry had a bad day. I mean, guys dropped the ball. But the defense is going to keep us in a lot of games. The rookies are incredibly encouraging. Fannin was incredible to watch. He runs routes like you would not believe for a tight end, dude. It's so cool fucking watching. Sampson, excellent out of the backfield, but we didn't run the ball very well. Ford needs to be cut as well. Ford and Schmidt, we can send those guys out to California, send them to Elon, have them strap them in a fucking roadster thing again, and launch those two assholes into space. I'm done watching Jerome Ford get carries, and if Schmidt mixes another kick, I don't know if he's going to make it out of the fucking stadium.
Well, as of right now, I believe it's 1.6% of NCAA football athletes ever make it to the big game. And he made himself a spot on a 53-man roster for now. He's one of the 32 best kickers in the world for now. So congratulations to Schmidt. Also, thanks to Barstool for this one. It's a great PR move to get everyone to learn your name, right? Just missed a couple kicks and everyone knows Schmidt. It was classic Browns fashion to kind of lose that game because look, the overarching feeling was that you guys were winning that game, but just not coming through, obviously, on the scoreboard. Question marks, obviously, for the Bengals. We knew their defense wasn't going to be good.
And here's the thing. They were not good at all, and they were given gifts. The only thing that they did a decent job at was, I guess, stopping the run. But if you go back and look, which I have, Jerome Ford is missing holes at Trent Richardson level fucking like misses. It's insane that he does not see where the fuck he's supposed to go.
Yeah. Well, look, until Quinshon Judkins gets there, I think that you guys probably should mix in a lot more Rocket Sanders because he had himself a decent little day there with the short yardage stuff. Dylan Sampson obviously showed up well as a receiving back. And yeah, you talked about Fanning getting a heavy amount of the target share there. It really felt like your receivers let you down in this one because for what it's worth, Joe Flacco did have himself a pretty good day, which was expected against this defense. And Bengals, look, they do maybe the early season woes continue. Maybe it is just that curse of playing against you guys because they have a tough time against the Browns. But I think you do have to, like you kind of brought up earlier, factor in the fact that your guys' defense is legit. And this recipe for this team probably is a lot more similar to 2 years ago, where it was a lot of low-scoring games, dog matches, except for I think you guys have a little bit more firepower on offense as far as having the semblance of a decent quarterback. And guys like Fannin and Cedric Tillman and Jerry Jeudy. Like, that should bring you a little bit of relief. The running back situation was better 2 years ago with Chubb. Now the question is going to be, can the running back situation start to get there, start to match a little bit? Quinshon Judkins might be able to provide a little bit of a boost there. We'll see how that is going forward. Chase Brown, look, the Bengals offense did look good on that first drive. Chase Brown looked good on that drive, but then things just kind of fell off after that. And again, those are going from scripted plays to unscripted.
Hey, my mom thinks I'm cool. Thanks for watching the show, Mom. I agree with her as well. Marshall should be on the team. He's on the practice squad. Cut forward and elevate fucking Marshall.
I like how she spoke in true Asian tone there. Appalachian State.
Appalachian State, yeah.
Thank you for that one, Nancy. I love it. All right, next game up. This is a fun one. Dolphins, Colts, Indiana Jones. This might not be his last crusade, or maybe he just played an ungodly, awful team. The Colts ran it the fuck up on the Dolphins, 33-8. Dolphins only were scoring points there at the end, and it was limited. Daniel Jones looked very good. Quarterback rehab school maybe worked a little bit for him, but like he looked way more poised in the pocket. He was throwing some damn good passes. Tyler Warren is a dog, running the ball, receiving, good, blocking really good. Did fucking awesome out there. The run game looked good. The offensive line looked good. That defense looked way more improved for sure. Like my guy Cam Bynum got an interception right off the rip and then had a seizure in the end zone.
Front is what really impressed me. DeForest Buckner is going to lead a pretty good group up there, man. They were getting some pressure. Listen, and Tua was scared shitless. The Dolphins team fucking sucks. They are atrocious.
Yeah, it's a very rough showing for the Dolphins. It makes me feel way better about my prediction about them not being a solid team this year, aka being the worst team in the NFL. Those Saints probably coming for it too, but this was just such a bad showing. I think the thing's going to get blown up. I don't know how much of a leash McDaniels is going to have if they put up another couple showings like this.
He's getting fired mid-season. I'm calling it right now. After week one, McDaniels does not make it all the way through the season as the Dolphins head coach. He will either be fired or there will be something will happen where he will resign. He fucking hates it there. He doesn't like Tua anymore. He's tired of Tyreek. None of the fucking players like him or respect him. And you know what? Nobody in the fucking media respects this team either. This relationship is done. It is fractured. I don't know why they tried to trot it out there again this season. Like you hear the comments in the preseason. We're one day closer to death. This relationship is done. It's over with. He doesn't make it. But you know what? it made Danny Dimes look like the next version of Peyton Manning. He looked spectacular.
We had tons of people saying, Giants fan here, we're sorry, Danny Dimes, you weren't the problem. Saquon, you weren't the problem. It was always us.
Yeah.
And that's probably a bit of an overreaction because Daniel Jones still has Daniel Jones in him, just like Sam Darnold had some Sam Darnold in him still.
Yeah.
You can't bake out all the shit. But he did look way better, way more competent. And was the first quarterback, I believe, to win a score or have a scoring drive on all 7 possessions, I believe it was. Which is, fantastic for him. Obviously, this could help propel his career into a second chapter for sure. Yeah. It'll be interesting to watch going forward. And as a Colts fan,
and you're hoping he wins the job, hold on to the job, and it becomes your guy. You can say Anthony Richardson, we spent picks, but fuck it, later. If you end up with any quarterback, doesn't matter how you get him.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, like I said, Colts fans, enjoy this win. Take it with a grain of salt because you were playing against a Miami defense that looked like they didn't know how to play football so much that Ryan Clark wouldn't accept their opinion. It was pretty fucking bad. And so when you go up against better teams, better defenses, it's not going to be this easy week in and week out. I do think the Colts are improved this year. I've said I think that they're improved. I think that Daniel Jones will be good for them. Playoff, I'm not there yet. I need to see more up against an actual decent team.
I think if Jonathan Taylor continues to run like, man, he was downhill. He was hitting people. He was initiating contact. He looked fucking good in this game. This is one of those games where after about the half, you're like, I don't know if I need to watch any more of this because the Dolphins did do shit. Like it was their ass. Tua is not the dude. He's not the guy.
And I think that we should officially be on Tyreek Hill trade watch as well.
Yeah, they got to get as many because they're resetting after this year. They're blowing the whole fucking thing up. The quarterback's gone, coach is gone, everything's gone.
Another week or two.
Producer Amber almost popped in.
Another week or two though of that. And yeah, we're going to be looking at the coach. They're going to start blowing things up. You'll see trades, assets moving, XYZ.
Yeah. All right, let's do the next one.
Next up, Raiders Patriots out in New England. Apparently, the Raiders had a pinata, Josh McDaniels pinata in their locker room pregame. And the Raiders did go out there, get a revenge. They get their win 20-13. Decent day from Geno Smith. But I think some of the bigger stories from this is that, we have some concerning injuries there for like a Brock Bowers and whatnot. Not sure what's going to be happening. Heard possible MCL sprain, though he says he feels good. So we'll see going into week 2.
That's what I'm hoping for. He's on a couple of my fantasy teams.
Yep. And Drake May, I don't want to say that he took a step back or anything from last year, but he's still kind of making some of the more rookie-ish type decisions, which, once you get those things cleaned up, things will get a little bit better.
Yeah, man. So this was another game that I thought was going to be hard to call. The Raiders just had more juice. Now, granted, a lot of yards put up. Drake May put up 287 fucking passing yards. But neither team ran the ball efficiently in this game. The Raiders still can't run the ball, even with Ashton Janty, who did get into the end zone, but was wildly inefficient. Geno Smith really had to kind of sling this thing around to actually go out and control and win this game. It sucks that Brock Bowers got banged up, but they have a lot of guys that they can mix in. A lot of big playability out there with the Raiders. So if they're going to give Geno the opportunity to throw it 34, 35, 40 times a game, I think the Raiders can be pretty good because they have weapons. Now, the Patriots, Kayshon Boutte, great quote. Remember at one point I was a first-round draft pick. Okay, yeah, correct. But that is not enough. Hunter Henry is not enough. There was just not enough juice. Stephon Diggs, were you impressed with what you saw out of Stephon Diggs?
No, I wasn't impressed by this Patriots team. I think that they're better than they were last year, and last year was terrible.
Well, sure, they were awful last year.
It's going to take a little bit for this team to jive and click, and I think that I see the semblance of something there. I think Vrabes will get them much better by the end of the year, but expecting a ginormous jump, especially in week 1, is a lot to ask for from this Patriots team. Whereas the Raiders, they already had a decent amount of talent. They were kind of a quarterback away from having an offense that can kind of click. And then you bring in the oldest head coach, but a very good head coach in there, Pete Carroll. Yeah, things are going to be a little bit better. The Raiders are one of those teams that can make one of the largest jumps, I think, this year from the season prior. And so they're definitely one to watch. You would have liked to see a little bit more of a resounding win in week 1 if you're a Raiders fan, but altogether happy with how they performed.
They're still going to find a way to get the running game going.
Absolutely.
Chancey's a stud. I might be what the hell. Well, no, it's Pete Carroll. New scheme. Figure out how to run the damn ball.
Yep. All right. Next up, Cardinals and Saints. This one was way closer. He had Kyler Murray shitting his pants in the morning, and the Saints and Spencer Rattler shitting their pants on the field. Cardinals get the dub in New Orleans, 20-13. Kyler Murray, okay day. Trey Benson taking on a bigger load there for the Cardinals, which was kind of expected as Connor gets a little bit older. But not a whole lot else to write off about this game, other than I believe that my pick for defensive rookie of the year had himself a pretty fucking solid day.
Yeah, he almost killed Chris Olave. The thing that stood out most to me in this game was that Spencer Rattler played a lot better than I thought he did. Than he would. Now, if you look at the numbers, sure. 27 of 46, there's a lot of incompletions there. But that is a team that does not have an offensive line at all. That team misses Ryan Ramczyk so fucking bad at right tackle. I don't remember what the hell their right tackle's name is, but I think it was 3 plays in a row at one point. Number 71. I remember his number because they call his number 3 fucking plays in a row with repeated penalties. So
Talisi Fuaga?
Yeah, that was it. So Spencer dealing with that shit line.
75.
No, I don't know who it was. Maybe it was 75. I thought it was 71. But
Kelvin Banks, the rookie.
Is that 71?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So he had a tough fucking day. Yeah. So Spencer made things happen as much as he could. Alvin Kamara is still, I mean, he's an average back. The team's just not very good. The Cardinals should have won this game. Marvin Harrison finally showed up a little bit. I mean, it went the way I expected. Cardinals should have won this game. They did win this game, but I was surprised that Spencer Rattler played as well as he did, considering how shitty that offensive line is.
Look, there's been a lot of slander about the Saints team on this show, and I think rightfully so. They are not a good team roster-wise. I'm not sold on the coaching there either. Spencer Rattler, for what he is and where he was drafted, I expected him to be a backup quarterback and possibly a higher level backup quarterback if he was able to make good on some of the traits that he showed in college. And I think that's more of what we got there in this game. Was he's a higher level replacement level quarterback, but not a guy that you really do feel comfortable with running the entire season behind. And I think that he is going to be the Saints' best bet through the rest of this year. Tyler Shuck.
Come on, man.
I don't think that, because they are going to make a switch to Shuck at some point.
I have to.
But I don't think that it's going to be any sort of a boon for them. I still think Rattler probably gives them the best chance. But you are hitting a ceiling with Rattler. And that's just the unfortunate truth of it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, brother. Next up, we have Steelers and Jets. Revenge game for Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields, and they both fucking seem to have taken it personally, because this under that I called absolutely did not go under. It was a shit show. 34-32. Steelers get the win at the end off the leg of Chris Boswell, who's an absolute fucking dog and continues to be as a kicker. But yeah, this game did not go like I expected it to. A lot of running attack, especially from that Jets team. Breece Hall showed why he's the number one running back there and why people believed in him in years past. Justin Fields did a pretty fucking decent job and was running the ball, but throwing it decent too. And it seemed like neither defense showed up to play because this was a high scoring one. I remember texting you about Aaron Rodgers' performance in this. I still didn't think he looked good. I know what people are going to say. Oh, you fucking hate Aaron Rodgers. Is going to talk shit. 244 yards and 4 touchdowns. He was not putting a lot of velocity on the balls. They were floating, but he did take advantage of some pretty shitty breakdowns in the defense to get those touchdowns. And this was a shootout. Aaron Rodgers is a shootout type of guy. So look, got a Steelers fan that I work with who is very happy about this game and is like, I'm starting Aaron Rodgers next week in my fantasy league. And I said, by all means, go for it. I don't think that's what we're going to see week in and week out from Aaron Rodgers and this Steelers team. And their defense really has to figure shit out. They're going up against the Seahawks this weekend. Probably as tough or maybe a tougher match. It depends on what you think of the Seahawks performance this weekend. But I think that, it's still a little bit more of a coin flip for me as to who would actually come out on top of that game, because I don't think that the performance that we saw from the Steelers is going to be the same thing that you see every week. And again, that defense should have been way better for the Steelers, but it just wasn't.
Yeah, it was at the end when they needed it most. I mean, the hit by Jalen Ramsey was clutch. I mean, that's
good pop.
You live for that if you're a defensive player, especially a safety, because he's now a safety.
Yeah. Looks like one too. He's getting thick.
Yeah, thick. Yeah. Justin Fields played great, man. And you wish that he wins that game. Well, I wish he wins that game because fuck the Steelers. I think he's going to have a chance to make that team pretty competitive on offense, and he's going to help unlock Breece Hall. But the defense did not show up, and they just hired a defensive head coach. That's tough. That's a tough look in week one that you give up 34 points and you just hire a defensive head coach. Aaron Rodgers did what he needed to do, man. Sure, he doesn't maybe have as much zip, but he's still Aaron Rodgers. He knows where the ball needs to go and was good enough, especially when there's the fucking miscues, to get it there. And that's all he had to do. Because, listen, they didn't run the ball efficiently at all in this game. And this is supposed to be an offense that's predicated on running the ball. So without some maybe major miscues on the defensive side, they just probably win this game. Their offense is certainly capable of putting up a ton of points. That defense for the Steelers should be really good. Sucks that the Jets lost. I don't really have much to say. Fuck the Steelers. That's all. I'll finish that.
Alrighty. Next up, we got the Giants and the Commanders playing in Washington. Commanders get the win here, 21-6. And Russ Wilson is exactly who we thought he is. He looked even more washed than he did last year. It was a rough one for him. And you're starting to see things fall apart at the seams there for this Giants team. Neighbors and Dable not having a good sideline rapport. I said this online, and I'm going to say it now. I have been saying Jackson Dart should sit. He should sit for the year because I thought that he needed it. But after the preseason and after the way things looked in that game, this is it for Russ this week. If he has another stinker, they go back home next week in week 3. And I think Dart will be the starter, and Russ will be very confused as to why he's not out there starting, because he's the most unaware person, it feels like, in the world of what the fuck is going on around him. Everything's just fucking peachy roses in his head. But that was a bad game. He was floating stuff, just not good for that team. The defense for the Giants, still pretty good. But that offense is not clicking with Russ.
No. Now, you bring up after another bad game this week, which is a high probability, about Jackson Dart starting. I agree Jackson should sit. He looked good in the preseason, but I think he should sit. Would it make sense to leap Jackson and put in your Jameis Winston because you don't want to get Jackson Dart in there too early? I feel like that might be a direction they could go because the fucking vibes with Jameis, I bet, instantly changed this team. Russell Wilson is like watching fucking paint dry. It's just boring as shit, man. I feel like Jameis can make this offense go more than what Russ did. I mean, under 50% completion percentage. There's a lot of things that looked like Russ just does not have it anymore. So if it were me, I would make the change to Jameis before I would go to Dart, just because I wouldn't want to push Jackson Dart in at week 3 of the season. And a season that's going to be tough because they're not quite there yet to compete.
The only reason why I think Dart will be their play is because Dable and Shane are on the hot seat. They need, does Jameis make you better? Absolutely. I think that he absolutely is an upgrade over Russ right now. But if the GM and the head coach want to show ownership that they made good decisions and were coaching well in the offseason enough to try to save their jobs, they might feel forced into starting Jackson Dart sooner to show off their new shiny toy, their new first-round pick. Like, they don't want to go off into the sunset being fired, not showing what Dart could be and not having their project out there. And I think that the correct decision might not be the decision that they make. And that's why I feel like Dart could be the guy they go with. Now, for what it's worth, Jameis is more mobile than Russ at this point in his career. Mm-hmm. And I think has a more lively arm. And behind that offensive line, you need a quarterback that can move and navigate and get outside of the pocket. Jameis can do that. Jackson Dart, I think, can do it better. That would be the one upgrade that I would say that you would get from Jackson Dart over even a Jameis Winston, is that we saw Jackson Dart run really well this offseason. We saw him move out of the pocket and everything. That might be the little bit of a trick up the sleeve that they have with him. But going up against Dallas this weekend, I think that it's probably going to be a rough slog there for the Giants. I wouldn't be surprised if you do see Jameis come in this game, and then Jackson Dart could possibly be that guy going into next week, or they'll start evaluating the two of those guys going into week 3.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of this game outside, we could hammer Russ, but they didn't do anything really very well. They didn't play defense well. They allowed 220 rushing yards to, Austin Eckler, a rookie, and Jaden Daniels was a dog. Jaden Daniels had a great game, 68 rushing yards, 233 passing. He's incredible. I love this kid. He is the guy that I would love to have on my team. If I could pick any quarterback in the NFL right now to start my fucking franchise with, it would be this guy. He's just awesome. But the Giants made it look so fucking easy for them. When you're running the ball at almost 7 yards a clip, you could do anything you want anytime you want.
Yeah.
So this game was good. Yeah, they walked them.
And as far as Washington, good game overall. Bill Krosky-Merritt being 4th on the depth chart or whatever it was, that was a fucking lie. 10 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. He ain't gonna be that far down the depth chart that much longer. I can tell you that much. Good fucking game from him. Yeah, not much else to go over with that game. Next up, Panthers, Jaguars. Had a rain delay in the middle of it. Jaguars get the win 26-10. And Bryce Young might be back on Bryce Young fucking terrible status. Fucking watching mini games on the big screen instead of paying attention to the game that he's on the field for in the moment. Not a good look. Big day from Travis Etienne. Big enough that the team felt good with trading away their backup running back and Tank Bigsby to the Eagles yesterday. And maybe that says a little bit about Bashal Tutin as well for that team. But overall, didn't get to watch as much of this game because of that delay. But Jags get the win. They acted like it was their Super Bowl when they were in the locker room with their owner. It was pretty wild. But not a ton to say from this game, because to me, the Panthers didn't look like they showed up to play. Their coaching staff didn't seem like they showed up to play. and it might be a lot more of that for the rest of the year.
Yeah, they were really bad. They looked like the team that we had murdered for the last 2 years. Bryce went back to being the kid that didn't move, didn't find his windows. Just it was a complete regression. It was really, really bad. Like, where's the guy that moved, that found the rhythm? Like, none of that happened in this game. Now, for what it's worth, Ted McMillan had a pretty decent game. I mean, showed up very nicely, made some catches that were very tough because Bryce threw some really bad balls. But you got the picks. There was nothing that I would be like, oh man, are we sure we're going to stick with Bryce again? Because this was like the beginning of last year. This was a complete regression.
Look, go to Andy Dalton right now because he's still the only other quarterback on the team. He's the backup, and that worked last year. Put Dalton in there for a fucking couple weeks and then send Bryce back out because maybe he'll have a little bit of a fucking
pull his head out of his ass again.
And because that performance was abysmal on Sunday for them.
Yeah, listen, and I don't like the Jags teams all that much. I don't think they're very good, but when you can run for 200 yards against a team that's not going to score any goddamn points, you're going to look fantastic. I don't think that this Jags team is this good. So I would not get all that excited yet, Jags fans. You were playing a team that's not very good, that regressed to improvement days. So,
yeah. Jags, if you're going to have one good side of your ball, it is going to be the offense, and they showed up a little bit. But again, start to measure that against a better team, and we'll see where you're at. Cautiously optimistic for your offense, but not sold on it yet. Next up, Titans and Broncos out in Denver. Broncos get the win 20-12. Bo Nix had himself a Bo Nix type of day for, how he started off last season. Not very good. RJ Harvey showed up pretty well in his limited usage. And Cam Ward, the box score does not look good for Cam Ward, but he played kind of decent. I don't think this is going to be a good year for the Titans. I really don't.
Yeah.
But you saw some semblance of what he could be as a quarterback for your team going forward in the future. And that's a little bit of positivity for you. If anything, though, as the Broncos, I'm a little bit worried. Hopefully this is just first game, getting back in the swing of things. But the way that Nick's played and that offense kind of worked, it was not too great.
It looked ugly. But Bo was getting pissed. So it did not look great. They did run the ball well, though. Sean Payton found a way to get them to run the ball. The Tennessee Titans team, not very good. Cam looks capable of all the throws, made really good throws at times that were dropped, but also at times there were misses. Like he's still in the rookie stages. He still would get confused at times, but he doesn't have any help. Like his receiving core is atrocious. Like Calvin Ridley should be kind of good-ish when Calvin Ridley decides he's going to show the fuck up. We never know when that's going to happen. And then you look at the list of other receivers who he's got a chance to target in this game, and it is not exactly a who's list of guys. So the
Conquo and Chimere Dike and who?
These are made up names. So Cam is going to have a tough year because he just doesn't have the help. They could make a trade, but why?
At this point you don't.
There's some really good receivers coming out in the draft over the next couple of years. I'd probably just wait, stand pat, and draft Cam Ward's number one target this next year.
Yeah, if they're doing team building, this is an evaluation year of who on your roster should stick around for a little while as a piece. But this is an evaluation year and a build year. I don't expect them to be super good. Just try not to completely ruin your quarterback, essentially. Next up, 49ers and Seahawks. 49ers eke out a win despite Jake Moody doing some Jake Moody things. I was unaware, but since week 10 of last year, Jake Moody's attempted 24 field goals. He has made 13. Not great. And that's why he's no longer on this 49ers squad. Now, the 49ers were able to go out there and get a win, but they came out like a 49ers team, injured as fuck. Greg Kittle, Kittle is on IR. George Kittle. Yeah, I was like, wait, that's not his fucking name. George Kittle on the IR 4 weeks. Brock Purdy. God damn it, I can't fucking talk. Brock Purdy is got a toe injury, shoulder injury. Christian McCaffrey still working on that leg. Juwan Jennings, got good news about him today. No major damage, but he obviously came into this game injured. Like, they are beat the fuck up. And they went up against a rival team there in the Seahawks. Sam Darnold didn't have a terrible day. Obviously had that end of game fumble, which I don't necessarily blame him for. Joey Bosa pushed his offensive lineman back into his throwing arm, caused fumble. But overall, look, Seahawks, I want to know what the fuck was going on with your run game. I hear all this Kenneth Walker talk about how he's going to be perfect for this system, and then you give more carries to Zach Charbonnet, which I like Charbonnet.
And the goal line carry, god damn it.
Yeah, like part of this identity and part of helping Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a good quarterback at doing the play action. You can't do the play action if you're not running the fucking ball. Like, you have to have that threat of the run. You got 2 running backs that are capable, and you're not using them effectively, especially not your workhorse guy in Kenneth Walker. Hopefully that gets figured out here by next week. Hopefully the San Francisco defense was just a little bit better because they've got Robert Saleh back. But for the Seahawks, you got to figure out your game plan a little bit better there. A gritty win there from San Francisco. I know Joe Rockstar is happy about that. We already saw him pop in here saying best week 1 in a long time. And yeah, saying that Niners did fire their kicker and that yours, Mike, is next.
Oh, he's for sure. That motherfucker should have been fired already. But Ricky Pearsall, Dawg, one of those guys I targeted early in fantasy drafts, rounds above, because I'm pretty sure he's going to be their number 1 target.
You took him right ahead of where I was going to take him. So yeah. Got him right before me. All right. Lions, Packers. Lions did not look good at all.
No,
Packers win 27-13. Again, say what you want about me being a homer and a Vikings fan and everything like that. Packers played a good game, but I think a lot more is being made about their dominance than what actually happened. The Lions, again, lost both coordinators, and I think it showed. But more than anything, they lost their entire interior offensive line, and those guys had terrible, terrible outings. And the Achilles heel for Jared Goff is pressure up the middle. It was a bad day for that offense. That defense, a lot of question marks on that Lions defense to begin with. And when you're out there on the field all the time, without your defensive coordinator and Aaron Glenn, who kind of was the magic there, I think, it made for a really, really tough outing for the Lions. Packers, again, played a good game, but I'm not sold on them being as dominant as this outing really seemed like it was. Micah Parsons did make an impact, for sure. But at the end of the day, I have way more questions about this Lions team than I do about this Packers team.
So, I mean, Jared Goff had a decent day if you look at his numbers. 31 of 39, 225, a touchdown. Pick sucks, but it's the pressure. He took 4 sacks for 25 yards. That's a tough way to live. And he was facing pressure all afternoon, pressure up the middle like you brought up. Jordan Love, no sacks. The running game for the Lions never got going.
No.
So they were not going to be able to really get into their game and do what they do without that. So, I mean, the Packers played great. They were able to shut down a really good running game, or what should be a really good running game for the most part. The loss of the lineman is huge, I think. That is a problem that they might not be able to overcome. I do not think that the Lions are shit. I don't think they're going to go and have a terrible year. I think they are still a playoff team. But they have got to figure out a way to improve that offensive line and get that running game going. Otherwise, it's going to be a really long year. Jordan Love still had misses. His receivers do a good job for him. They did a really good job for him. And he spread the ball out all over the fucking place. So that made it really easy for them to move the ball because you never knew where it was going. So I'll give him props for that. Distributed the ball really well. I still am not sure that this Packers team is the NFC team to beat. The Micah Parsons thing did move the needle, but I still am not all the way on to the NFC champions potentially going to the Super Bowl team.
Yeah, look, the Packers defense twisted the living fuck out of that offensive line for Detroit. And by twist, I mean literal twists. The tackles pushed out, ends pushed in. Sean Gary and Micah Parsons were twisting inside, causing major pressure problems. It was a really, really good defensive game plan by that Packers team to target the biggest weakness on that Lions offense. And Jared Goff's known biggest weakness. When he's not had good interior offensive lines, particularly when he was with the Rams and early with the Lions, you saw the same sort of struggles that we saw in this game. I am, I'm probably further along than you are with this Lions team possibly not being a playoff team. I know you said you still think they are. You're not supposed to have huge knee-jerk reactions after week one. This is probably the closest one that I have to a knee-jerk reaction saying this Lions team might be in fucking trouble. But I love Dan Campbell. I think that he's a great motivator, head coach, grit guy. But those coordinators, I think, did play a huge piece into running the offense and defense respectively. And that coupled with that interior offensive line being generally decimated by Detroit or in Detroit it could spell big time problems for this Lions team.
I hope not, man. I'm rooting for the Lions and the Lions fans. They've been so close.
Yeah. All right. Last of our regular Sunday games before Sunday Night Football. Texans and Rams. Rams eke out the win there, 14-9. Doesn't matter if Puka's bleeding from the head. They still get that win. Texans defense, like we kind of expected, really fucking good. But that offensive line for the Texans is tough. It is tough. Not a good look. But Rams get the win here. Thoughts on the game, Mike?
This game was boring as fuck. It really, really was. Nick Chubb looked pretty good, though. I still think that, now granted, is he old Nick Chubb? No, but 13 carries, 60 yards. That's a pretty decent day behind a shitty offensive line. Now, they're bad at pass blocking. I don't know what they graded out in their run blocking grades. Neither one of us can fucking talk tonight. Jesus Christ. So it was cool to see Nick play a decent game. Stroud, they didn't protect him very well. He also made mistakes. The Rams team is going to be good. As long as Matthew Stafford stays healthy, that team is going to be good. They're just incredibly well coached, man.
Yep. Well, let's get to the cream of the crop game here. That Sunday Night Football game, Ravens and Bills, two MVP candidates last year going up against each other. And look, as a guy who's not invested in either team, but invested in football, that was a good fucking game. Now, I did lose a lot of money on it. Like, if the Ravens had won, I had like several bets that would have fucking cashed in, including getting right on our picks. But damn, it was fucking fun to watch. I remember slapping Hannah, wake up. This is a good one. You need to watch this at the end. Look, the Ravens looked absolutely dominant to start off that game. Derrick Henry
controlled
fucking a refrigerator, just destroying motherfuckers. Cole, whatever his name is, fucking just pushing him to the ground, and it's embarrassing. Like, he looked like a guy, a college player playing against high schoolers at times. Lamar looked fantastic at times. And then the Bills just were steady Eddie, just kept doing what Bills do. And when you get these two quarterbacks, whoever gets the ball in their hand at the end, or whichever team makes a mistake, like the Ravens made two critical errors, in my opinion. One, obviously, the Derrick Henry fumble, But
Right.
2, not going for it, even if you are backed up, not going for it on that 4th down, I think that was huge.
4th and
Like,
3. Yeah.
yeah. Look, you did just have Derrick Henry fumble the ball the drive prior. Who else do you want to give it to than Derrick Henry to get you fucking 3 yards when he's angry that he just put your team in this spot?
And here's the thing, and you give him the fucking option. It's a read option.
Like, give it to him or Lamar. I think you probably get that fucking 1st down, and that's it.
Yeah,
but they didn't. And look, that's been the kind of MO for the Ravens, is that they are incredible. They are dominant. And then it'll just be like 1 or 2 little mistakes at the end of the game that fucked them. And it wasn't Mark Andrews' time, but it was rough. And that was, look, exciting as fuck. I couldn't have asked for a better Sunday night football game than what we got from the Bills and Ravens. 2 really good fucking teams. Obviously, this is the AFC Championship game, I think, that everyone kind of wants right now.
I want this game again. We talked about it in the last show when we were talking the bets. Like, I want this to be the rivalry. I don't give a shit about the Mahomes and Burrow rivalry, because the Cincinnati Bengals are not going to be nearly good enough to fucking make the playoffs. But these 2 guys are going to be really good for forever, and their teams are really good almost perpetually now. So I want this to be the rivalry. Sign me up for Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson any fucking time. 2:00 in the morning, fucking 1 a.m. game or 1 afternoon game, Sunday night, Monday night. I don't give a shit. These guys are incredible. Zay Flowers, fucking dog. That's another guy I targeted early. Like, I was surprised. Keon Coleman showed out. This was such a good game. The only thing that you can be upset about, really, is the fact, if you're a Ravens fan, you've got to be tired of losing these games at the end, like, and pissing these things away. This game should have been won multiple times. You can't give Josh another shot.
The cherry on the top was rolling out someone's old drunk fucking uncle to kick that game winner, fucking cracking a smelling salt on TV and tossing her back. Fucking Matt Prater. That dude looks like they just got him out of rehab. Like, fucked up hair, old as shit. Like, it was funny them talking to being like, no, he walked in, talked to Josh Allen, and was like, hey, I'm going to give you my all this game. And Josh Allen was like, who the fuck is this old dude? Fucking just, I don't know. Like, people didn't know who he was because he was there for less than 100 hours with the team because of the injury to Tyler Bass.
Yeah.
And he did not, like, physically, he does not look like he belongs on a football field. He looks like the kicker from The Replacements with Keanu Reeves. Like, the guy literally looks like he just got off of a hell of a bender. And they flew him out from Vegas to get off this bender and kick us a fucking kick. And he just steady Eddie goes out there and fucking knocks it through for the
bangs in 5 kicks like it's nothing.
Yeah.
By the way, Matt, when they cut you, when Bass comes back, come on over to Cleveland. I'll drive you to work.
Dude, let him sleep on your couch.
I probably will. The drunk fuck. If he makes kicks.
Probably look, that's the other thing. I listened to the O-line committee, great fucking podcast. And a couple of the O-linemen on there were like, yeah, we know Matt Prater. He's a fucking awesome hang. Like,
I would imagine,
yeah. Really cool. All right, and I guess that kind of wraps it up here with our Monday night game. My Vikings going into Soldier Field versus the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams. Mike, give me your thoughts on this game.
Okay, so I'll do this pretty quick. Caleb started out by making a lot of plays with his legs, but he made a lot of plays with his legs because his eyes dropped. You guys didn't bring necessarily a lot of pressure, but it was muddy pocket the entire first half. You guys just never got home. But every time that you guys would muddy the pocket, his eyes would drop. It was talked about several times on the broadcast as well, I believe, about missing big plays. So Caleb still has a lot of work to do with that. Now, he made some really good throws. He made some really good plays with his legs when he had to. had his team in a position to win the game. But he didn't do enough, and he's still not there yet. Ben Johnson is not going to like the fact that every time he gets any kind of pressure, his eyes drop immediately. That's where Ben gets all of his big plays. Like, guys being able to freelance, like Caleb's going to have to find a way to keep his eyes up and find guys downfield. JJ did a really bad job in the first half. Was confused several times, it looked like. Now, granted, the Bears had a good call. I remember talking at one point, you guys ran a mesh concept, and they were showing a double A gap blitz, thinking man coverage, mesh is going to be great. And then they drop out into cover 3, and there's nowhere to go with it. So JJ's just got to eat it. And I told you, like, there was nothing he could do there. Like, there was nothing you could do. One of those guys had to settle, or he was throwing a pick. So you're going to get a sack, you're going to throw a pick there, because nobody was settling on a mesh concept. But he was able to kind of pull his head out of his ass late in the game and make it happen. And I'll let you take it away from here, man, because the late game heroics of J.J. McCarthy should be really the conversation. Kid gloves were on early. He was confused early, but then he finally got a little bit of a rhythm, and it let it happen. Go ahead.
Yeah, another guy. It was a rough one to start off last night. So just give me a second here.
Are you smoking a cig? Is that a dart?
So, it was a fucking rough one last night.
What? You smoking a dart?
I was fucking struggling. Okay, it was tough. But God damn it, if that kid doesn't have fucking moxie, all right. To go into half with as bad of a performance as you had, and then to come out after the half and throw a pick six, that bad of a pick six,
and a terrible pick six.
That's tough. But then the kid goes to his fucking coach, and the coach says, "We're all right." And then he gets back into the huddle and he goes to his guys, 22 years old, my youngest quarterback in the NFL, youngest starter in the NFL, and say, "Where would you guys rather be than here right now?" And then rallies his team, scores 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. It does a complete 180. This is what happens when you've got good coaching, and you got a kid with a good fucking head on his shoulders. I couldn't be more proud of the way that J.J. McCarthy performed in week 1 and of this team. He played 12 snaps this preseason. And I think that showed. This was his first live, true, real game action since the national championship 2 years ago. He looked like a rookie quarterback who hadn't played in a long time. But one of J.J. McCarthy's superpowers, I think, is that he loves punishment and he fucking thrives off it. Like, it's almost like a sick obsession. A lot of the reporters are saying this from training camp. He would go in and he would have a bad day at training camp, and they would talk to him afterwards, and he seemed giddy. He was like, "Brian Flores' defense messed me up, and I can't wait to go back out there tomorrow and fucking fix this." And then he would go out the next day and have a really good day. Like, I felt like, obviously it's demoralizing when you see that pick six. Oh, yeah. But I remember feeling a little sick to myself, being like, I was sitting there smiling, saying, I think he needed that. I think that this is going to be it. And sure fucking enough, it was like after that pick six, it was like, oh, I just got kicked in the nuts. Now I'm fucking ready to go. Because look, that first half, it was extremely vanilla play calling. Kevin O'Connell said, like, we don't want to put a lot on his shoulders. We want to keep things simple for him. And that playbook was pretty damn simple and sloppy. Look, it was sloppy by the receivers for sure. That mesh concept that I think that you're talking about, which was on a third down, really good breakdown by JT O'Sullivan on the quarterback school on JJ McCarthy's first game. He was showing that a majority of the stuff that JJ did in the first half wasn't his fault. It was a lot of bad stuff by the receivers. Justin Jefferson, and I believe it was Jalen Naylor on that mesh concept, basically almost ran into each other and then kind of
Yeah,
sat
they did.
there. And JT broke it down. He's like, he can either throw it right now and it's going to be a pick, or he could try to run for it. And he got tripped up and ended up flipping forward. He's like,
I
if
did
he had
not
kept his
watch
feet,
JT O'Sullivan. I just want to know. I just want everybody to know that I also maybe know a little bit about football.
yeah. Yeah, maybe. But look, he broke it down basically where he's like, yeah, it was very vanilla play calling, but it was like JJ wasn't making bad reads or bad plays. It was like the receivers were kind of doing stuff on a very vanilla playbook. It was geared up very well by the Bears. But then after the half, things started to click a little bit more. Obviously, that interception was terrible, inexcusable, really bad. And I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad he got it out of the way, because it seemed like it lit the fire under him, where, look, a majority, I think, of good professional quarterbacks have that happen and they get down in the dumps. Kirk Cousins is back there gritting his fucking teeth. Caleb Williams would have fucking gone to the sideline and thrown a towel over his head. JJ's fucking, he almost looked like he was ready to smile afterwards. Like, obviously not happy, but like, he was like ready to fucking go. And he fucking went, man. Like, after that, it was great for that offense, great for the team. Love the moxie out of him. Love the moxie out of the team. Flipping over to the Bears, I lean back into that first 20 plays of scripted plays. Caleb went 10 for 10 to start off the game. And there were a lot of misses that he had, because it seems like whenever Caleb gets the ball snapped to him, he immediately starts dancing. He doesn't look like he knows what to do. And that's in one of the breakdowns as well from JT, but you got to pay for that one. It doesn't look, it looks like he immediately doesn't know what to do. And that's the thing, is the Vikings and Brian Flores almost seemed like a little bit of a cheat code. They didn't bring extra rushers, but 33% of the time in the first half. They brought it up to, I think, like 46% in the second half, though. But I don't know if Caleb Williams thought, oh, they're going to be bringing all these crazy things at me or whatever. But they didn't bring that sort of crazy blitz pressure in the first half, and they still were getting that pressure, just not getting home, letting them slip out. And that, I think that'll get cleaned up. I think we'll get home sooner or later. And it started to happen towards the end of the game. But he doesn't look comfortable in that pocket. And Ben Johnson needs a quarterback who can be comfortable in that pocket and run things within rhythm. Like him, Caleb being able to squirt out and get the running plays, that is good for a quarterback to be able to do. However, you don't want that to be your lifestyle. You want to have a quarterback that can be more of a Pat Mahomes. He can read things. He can make good throws. And then when he needs to scramble, he can scramble. And I don't think Caleb is there yet. Like, when it came to that second half and they're off script, and then the Vikings started bringing more pressure, that's when we started seeing everything sail. Slow reads on stuff. And that, I believe it was either to DJ Moore or Roma Dunze down the left side, wide open, honestly, a blown coverage.
Yeah.
Caleb looked, he saw it, should have already thrown it, took a second, then threw it and overthrew him. That was the painted nail in the coffin right there. That fucking told you what was up right there.
Yeah.
He did not look comfortable. Everything was off from that point. I admittedly, a couple really, really bad calls from the officials there at the end of the game that were game changing. Unfortunately, that's the NFL that we fucking live in.
Yeah.
Like, did it benefit my team? And would I be much more upset if those calls were not helping my team? Absolutely. But there's an expectation, I believe, in the NFL that you are going to have bad calls from the officials. Good teams rise above it. Bad teams sink below it. And they sunk. They sunk hard. And yeah, Twitter was a lot of fun last night.
I'm sure it was. You're very welcome for introducing you to the Twitter game. It's the place to be. Shout out to everybody who's tuning in on Twitter right now. If you are checking us out somewhere else, we appreciate that as well. You can get us on YouTube, Facebook, but actually coming very soon, since we just figured it out, we're going to be, I think, going live on the old TikTok as well. We might actually find all the places that we can, how many different places we can go. But we are expanding, so you can catch us on more places. But Evo, my man, that was the last game. Last game, no more breakdowns. Now, our picks, good picks. Blitz's big bet did not have a good go.
He's a bad dog.
Yeah, bad dog.
Good pupper, but a bad dog.
Listen, he's gonna come back next week, dead bird in mouth, ready to apologize and try to bring you guys some winnings. I can assure you that. On it's gonna be Friday this week. You are making a trek up to Minnesota. You're gonna go check out the home opener for your boys. Dude, I love it. The home opener. My first time being at the home opener for the Browns as a fan. I've been there as somebody who's working. But being able to take my son, take G out there was fucking awesome. Shout out to Brown Spider and First Lady. They got married in the Muni lot before the home opener. I went out there. I did some pictures. I'm going to get some pictures sent over to them. I'm shooting a documentary for my thesis film project. I'm going to graduate this year. So that is what I am working on. That will probably be featured in the documentary. Man, it was so much fun. I wish we would have pulled it out, but brother, I'm pumped for you. So we're going to come to the people on Friday, like a little Friday afternoon show. Give little people a little nooner.
Yeah, it'll be your time, probably closer to noon, or earlier out here towards the West Coast, because I gotta make the trek up to Phoenix to fly out early afternoon. So, but yeah, look, we're adults. We got lives and things going on. And I got to take my wife to her first ever professional football game. Yeah. Like, I got to go get it on, man. So, super stoked for that. I'm gonna try to make a little bit of content if I can while I'm up there. Possibly gonna work on getting a stadium tour before the game as well. Looked into that today. A little expensive, but it might be worth it to get down there on the field. Okay. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I'm super excited to get up there and see the Vikes open on Sunday Night Football.
Hell yeah, brother! I'm pumped for you, guys. What a hell of a week! NFL Week 1 in the books. Hopefully, you guys made some money. I know that I made some money. To everybody out there tuning in, gamble what you can, gamble responsibly. Come kick it with us on Saturday. We're gonna have a good time. On Friday, Jesus Christ, we just talked about it. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna hopefully make you some more money. Blitz is gonna get another big ass bet out there for you as well. Before we get out of here, I'm gonna give my guy Evo one last word.
All right, 2 things for the last word. 1, get your waiver claims in for fantasy people. Get your waiver claims in. Don't forget, not that there's a lot of great stuff out there, but also some people like to paint their nails. Some people put on war paint. I go for the war paint. And I love to see what my quarterback is going to turn into. I'm super fucking stoked for this dude.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys, this is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evil. We will see you guys Friday. But until then, we're getting the fuck out of here. See you.